Hello, and in this yoga we are going to be activating our legs a little bit. So this is really focusing on our strength and our balance and kind of really challenging us. So if you need any props, grab a block if you have one. If you want to use a pillow or a folded up towel, please do so. This may help you with some of the poses, kind of activate the inner thighs or support you with your balance. So at this point, you know what your body needs a little bit. Be honest with yourself and come join me on the mat. So this time, we're actually going to start in a standing position on the back of our mats. Our feet are going to be hip width apart. We're just going to take a moment to ground ourselves here. So really feel the feet being rooted. Our ankles are anchored down, feeling that support. Our inner thighs are engaged. Engage the arches of the feet. Lengthening up from the crown, shoulders are down, back and relax. And just notice how different this is than the usual ways that we've been starting this yoga practice. Your eyes can be open or closed. And just take a moment to tune into your breath, feeling the belly rise. And exhale out. One more time, inhale. And exhale out. Notice how your body can stand within this pose and stand up nice and tall. And is this challenging for you to balance, or is this comfortable for you? Do you feel steady and rooted? What muscles can you engage to help support your foundation? Take a nice deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. We're going to inhale our hands up overhead, and on our exhale we're going to twist open towards the right, arms come out and then wrap around our hips. So our right come around our wrist. So our left hand is wrapped around our right wrist, and the back of our right hand is wrapped around our left wrist. Our hips are squared and rooted. The only thing moving is our torso and upper body. So feel this twist in the spine, gazes over your right shoulder. Take a deep breath in and exhale, slowly release back up to center. Hands come up overhead. Inhale. And exhale, twist over towards the left. Right hand comes to the left hip, left hand comes to the right hip. Pull your left hip forward a little bit so you feel the twist in the spine. Gazes over your left shoulder. Take a deep breath in and exhale out. Inhale your hands back up to center. And on your exhale, really feel the foundation within your legs and forward fold. Maybe rock from side to side here. Feel your back body, your hips press towards behind you and up. So you're kind of like sticking your butt up. We're going to grab with our middle and pointer finger. We're going to wrap around the big toe and just see if with our elbows spread wide, if we can pull ourselves a little bit down without rounding the lower back. We're pulling our chest towards our thighs. You can even take a nice bend in the knees here. If you want to place your block, you can place that in between your legs and notice the different sensations that you're feeling within those inner thighs, the arches of your feet, and the support of your ankles. Take a deep breath in. And exhale out. Slowly you can release the grip of your toes. Inhale, halfway lift, hand comes onto your shins. Think of an elongated back and you're pressing your head in front of you. Pressing into your shins. Then open up your arms in a T position and rise on up. If you have a block here or a pillow or a prop, just notice the sensations that this creates for you. We're gonna rock a little bit forward and back. So really press into your heels and lift those toes up and keeping our whole body locked in place. The only thing moving is our ankles and our feet. Notice the sensations that you're feeling within the toes and the muscles of the toes. Spreading those toes wide apart, rocking forward and back. Take a nice deep breath in, come back to a neutral position. Maybe rock out side to side. If you have the block, you can remove that from your legs. Inhale your hands up overhead and exhale, forward fold. Begin to walk your hands out in front of you into a downward facing dog or triangle pose. Press into that left leg and listen to my cues carefully. We're going to cross the right leg over the left, so we're onto the balls of our right foot, and that's right by our left foot. So it's kind of like we're crossing our legs. Our right calf is pressing into the left shin, and the left shin kind of pushes back. Press firmly into both hands, feeling the stretch going all the way up from the ankle, the calf, the hamstring. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale out. Now we're going to come into a figure four, and I want you to really pay attention to my cues. So we're going to slide that right ankle on the outside of that left leg coming up towards that knee. So now we're creating a figure four relatively with our legs. Then bend that left knee to come down onto the mat. So we're in a figure four with a tabletop position. Untuck the toes, and we're going to start to send the hips back onto the left heel, and your right knee will lift up. So we're in a form of pigeon pose combined with child's. Feeling the stretch on the upper back, pressing into your hands. Take a nice deep breath in. If you need a block here for support, you can place that underneath your right knee, or you can sit on that block instead. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale out. We're getting deep into the hip opener, preparing our body for this next flow. Slowly press into your hands to come off onto your knees. Undo the bind here, back into that tabletop position. Maybe rock your hips from side to side if that feels good for you. Tuck the toes and send the hips back and up for that downward facing dog. You're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So really engage your core, sucking in that belly to protect that lower spine, and it actually creates a little bit more space within the joints. Press into that right leg and cross that left foot over to meet the outside of your right foot onto the balls of the feet. Your calf presses into your right shin, and your shin presses back. Notice how that creates a deeper stretch. Feeling the right heel firmly being rooted down. With each exhale, you release any tension that you're feeling within that right leg. Breathe into that space. Take one more deep breath in and exhale out. Now creating that figure four, start to slide your left leg up that right knee, pushing your left knee out, and then bend onto that right knee, untuck the toes, and start to send the hips back onto that right heel. Your left knee comes up, and you're definitely going to feel a good deep stretch within that left hip. We're targeting the psoas and the piriformis, creating the squeeze and soak effect. So what that means is we're squeezing and preventing the blood flow from the hip, so that when we release from this position, we are allowing the blood flow to rush back into all those nooks and crannies, giving it fresh oxygen and nutrients. Take one more deep breath in and exhale out. Slowly come onto your hands and knees, uncross the bind, rock your hips from side to side, whatever feels comfortable for you. And when you're ready, we're going to tuck the toes and send the hips back and up for downward facing dog. Maybe pedal out the dog here and just notice how much looser you can feel within that back body. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale out. Press into your right leg, bend that left knee, and we're going to send the left knee between the legs. Drop that right knee for a low lunge. Your left knee should be stacked over your left ankle, feeling the outside of that left foot and really activating that inner arch of that left foot. Elongate that spine up and then inhale your hands up overhead. You should feel a nice stretch with that right hip flexor. If not, come up a little bit on your hips. Make sure that the tips of your hip, the highest point, is pointing upwards and not forward. So maybe tilting the pelvis back a little bit. Lock your core, so sucking in that pelvic floor muscles. And then from here, keeping it locked, see if you can reach down a little bit deeper. Elongating that spine. If you want a deeper stretch, you can reach that right hand up overhead. Your left knee is aiming towards the center so it's not flaring out. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, begin to frame your foot. We're going to tuck those right back toes and lift that right knee up. Use that quad for support. Press into your right hand and inhale your left hand up for a nice twist. Try to keep your hips squared and steady. Both legs are energetically reaching towards the center of the midline so they're not flaring out to either direction. Exhale, slowly release that left hand on the inside of that left leg. Your left leg presses against your left arm and then slide your right hand up overhead. Again, be aware of your right hip. It's not flaring up, but it's rotated down towards the floor. Using your right obliques to support this twist. And exhale to release that right hand down. We're going to come into a high lunge. So elongate that spine, tuck the core, and reach through the head to rise on up. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale out. Slowly release the hands behind the back. We're going to interlace the hands so the base of our palms are pressing to one another. Squeeze the shoulder blades down and back so you're feeling a nice stretch with the collarbones and the shoulders. High up on the balls of the right foot. Engage the core and lead with the heart space to lean forward. Hands will come up, and this is humble warrior. Take a nice deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. Feel the firmness with your foundation. So notice how when we lean forward, we put so much more pressure on the front leg. See if you can balance that by engaging and lengthening through that right leg. Inhale, lead with your hands to help lift your chest back up. Release the hands here. Hands come up overhead and then begin to frame that left foot. Send it back for that downward facing dog and pedal out your dog, walking one leg at a time. Feeling the strength of the left leg. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So press into that left leg, bend that right knee and send that in between the legs and drop onto that left knee. Right knee is stacked over the right ankle and tuck those left toes. Make sure that we're creating a little bit of distance, so maybe you slide that left knee back a little bit. So squeeze in both glutes. Both of those legs are energetically pushing towards the center midline. Engage the core and the posterior chain, lengthen through the crown, and inhale yourself up. Notice how when you engage the core, your hips rotate with it. So now the tops of your hips are pointing upwards versus forwards. If they're still arching a little bit in the lower back, come up a little bit higher in your low lunge, lock those hips, and then send them down a little bit deeper. See if you feel a stretch on the left hip flexor area. If you want it deeper, you can reach your left hand up overhead. Your glutes are being squeezed here. Take a nice deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. Inhale your right hand up overhead, and exhale to frame that right foot. Tuck those left toes and lift that left knee to that left hand, and then twist open, reaching your right hand up towards the ceiling, trying to keep those hips squared. So your right femur is pushing into that hip socket and pushing it back as your left hip is pressing forward down towards the mat. Using your left quad here, reach through those fingertips, engage that core, feel your strength, and exhale, slowly release that right hand on the inside of that right leg. Right arm presses into that right leg. Find that support and that balance with both legs, and then send that left hand up overhead. And notice the different sensations. This is definitely a little bit more challenging. And what does your body have to do to find that balance? What muscles must be engaged and incorporated for your body? Take a deep breath in and exhale to release that left hand. We're going to come into that high lunge. So press firmly into the back of that left foot, engage that left glute, press into that right hand, and inhale your hands up overhead. That right quad should be on fire right now. Take a nice deep breath in. You're doing great. And exhale out. Hands come down behind the back. Interlace those hands. Squeeze those palms together. Shoulder blades down and back. Ribs are tucked in. And then come into humble warrior. So start to press your heart space down towards your thigh. Your head can come down. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. Use your hands as leverage to lift you back up. And release those hands. Inhale up overhead. And exhale. Frame that right foot and send that right foot back for that downward facing dog. Pedal out your dog here. And in one knee at a time. Starting to calm the nervous system now. We're going to bend that left knee to come into a pigeon pose. So left knee comes to left wrist and left ankle comes towards
right knee
comes
wrist.
down, and extend that right leg back. If you need a block here, you can definitely use that for support. Try to keep those hips squared so you're not leaning from one side to another. Lengthen up from the crown. High up on the fingertips, and when you're ready, allow your body to melt over your front leg. Allow your breath to be a guide as you inhale to create space, feel and find your edge, and on your exhale, you release that edge, release that tension, and just let it go. Trusting your body and listening to your body, knowing when your body is telling you to stop. Take one more deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. Slowly lift the head. Press back into your hands, and instead of coming out of this position, we're going to rotate onto that left hip. We're going to come into fire log pose. So with control, we're going to slide the right leg in front, and we're going to cross it on top of our left knee. Here, I'll face this way. Our right leg comes on top, so our shins are relatively parallel. Your right knee may come up, and that's a-okay. The goal is to get both sit bones rooted, and if your right knee is up, you can use your right hand as leverage to push that down and just hold. If your right knee is down and you want a deeper stretch, you can grab your block or a pillow or a blanket, place it right where your hips are in your belly, and just allow your torso to melt over. Feeling the deep stretch on the right hip, counteracting the pigeon pose that we were just in. Take a nice deep breath in from the nose And exhale out. As we're creating these new neurological connections within our muscles and our mind-body connection, we're using our breath as a tool. And because we want to form proper and good connections, we want to slowly integrate this and slowly come into the posture, meaning being gentle with yourself. So really being honest with where you're at and knowing that change takes time. Find your breath. Take one more deep breath in and exhale out. Slowly press into your hands, so release your hands up. If you had a block or a pillow, you can release that. We're going to cross the right leg continuously over the left, so our right knee now comes up, creating like a figure four. Our right hip wants to be rooted down towards the ground, so your right knee might come down a little bit, and that's a-okay. Elongate that spine. We're going to wrap our left arm around that right knee, and our right hand comes behind us. Really use your left hand for support here to really draw that right knee in towards your chest so you feel that stretch with that right outer hip. Just enough where you can find comfort and challenge. Take a deep breath in and exhale out. Slowly release that left hand. We can uncross the bind here. Come back into a tabletop position and just rock your hips side to side, making any movement that feels good for that right leg or hip. Maybe making some circles. When you're ready, come back to that tabletop position. Tuck your toes and send those hips back and up for that downwards facing dog. Observe what you're feeling. Observe the difference, the strength and the space that has now been created. Now we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side, but I'm actually going to twist this way so you can see me. So we're going to bend that right knee, place the right knee towards the right wrist. Right ankle comes towards the left wrist. Extend that left leg back for our pigeon pose. Hips are squared. Come up high on your fingertips. If you need a prop for support, you can place that underneath your right hip. Know your body. Find your edge. Lift up from the crown. Keeping your hips squared, start to come onto your forearms. Your head rests and collapse down. Your upper back can round. And breathe into this right hip space, knowing that it's only temporary and that this is actually quite beneficial. Our hips affect our whole posture as a whole, between our gait and the way that we walk, but also how it attaches to our back muscles and our spine, which then connects to our shoulders and our neck. So really, it affects our whole posture. So having mobile hips is gonna ease off any pressure anywhere else in the body. Take a nice deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. Slowly come back up onto your fingertips. Come onto that right hip, so roll back a little bit. And with control, have your left leg come on top of your right knee. Shins are relatively stacked. Again, your left knee might not come down towards that left foot, and that's okay. Find your edge, lengthen up from the crown, and use your left hand to push onto that left knee. You can stay here or invite you to lean forward. And if you had a block or a prop in between your belly and your legs, I encourage you to place that there now. We tend to store a lot of trauma and emotions within our hips, so whatever comes up, just allow it. And whether that be just the sensations and discomfort and urge to get out of this pose, come back to your breath and just observe where your mind goes. You know, most people think that we find our edge and that we can no longer do it, but our body can withstand a little bit more than what our mind can. So it's pushing yourself with grace. If it's causing you any pain, then definitely surrender. But find your edge where you can use your breath. Take one more deep breath in and exhale out. Slowly rise back up. We're going to cross that left leg over the right knee. Sole of the foot is flat on the floor. Try to get that left sit bone down to the ground. If this is good for you, your left knee can come down a little bit, but I encourage you to lift that up a little bit and wrap your right hand around that left knee, and left hand comes behind you. So making sure that we're elongating that spine up, and you'll notice how that will help your left sit bone root down towards the ground versus rounding the lower back. Notice the difference. So lean up with your chest forward. Take a nice deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. We're only here for a moment. And slowly you can release your right hand. We're going to place our hands behind us and uncross the bind. Our legs extend out in front of us to a staff pose. So straighten your back, lengthen up, reach to the crown of the head like you're balancing something on your head. Notice how that tucks the core a little bit and engages the pelvic floor muscles. Inhale your hands up overhead. You can have a micro bend within the knees, and then press your heart space forward to meet your thighs. So as soon as you feel where you can't go anymore, before you start to round the back, just stay there and release your hands. Your hands can grab your shins, your ankles, or if you have it in your practice, to reach your feet. Find your comfort zone and find your challenge. Take a nice deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. Inhale, feel that belly rise, feel your ribs and your back expand, and exhale out. Slowly you can release your hands and gently come up all the way. We're going to come onto our backs. We're going to come into a reverse staff pose. So begin to send your legs all the way up towards the sky. You can have a micro bend within the knees. If you want your hands on the back of your thighs for support, you can. And just allow the blood flow to reverse itself, like a figure 8, rejuvenating the whole body as a whole. You might want to make some ankle circles here, flexing the toes, spreading the toes wide. And then go the opposite way. Find what movement your body is requesting from you. You might start to feel a little bit of tingles within your toes and your legs, but just know as soon as you let your legs down, you're going to feel another sense of tingles rushing down your legs as the blood flow goes back to support the feet and the lower extremities. Take one more deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. Now with control, slowly release your legs back down to the mat and extend your legs out in front of you for our final resting pose, Shavasana. Maybe tuck the shoulders down and back. Adjust your body. Your feet splay out, palms face up or down. Allow the mind and body to settle and relax, allowing everything to integrate. The new neurological connections that we've made within the mind and body. How we've controlled our nervous system. Feel your belly rise, your chest, and allow it to release easily and effortlessly. Take a final deep breath in from the nose, coming back to the body, and exhale out. Begin to wiggle your fingers, your toes, taking a nice stretch, anything that makes your body feel comfortable, or you could stay in Shavasana a little bit longer. When you're ready, come into a fetal position on either side to help support you coming back up into a cross-legged seated position. Lengthen up from the crown, shoulders are down, back and relaxed, eyes are closed. Notice what you're feeling within the body, the strength, the space, the subtleness. Take a deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. Bring your hands to heart in front of you in prayer pose. Take a moment just to honor yourself, honor this moment, and honor this growth and this journey that you're on to improve your health mentally and physically, for longevity, for peacefulness. Take a nice deep breath in from the nose and exhale out. Thank you so much for flowing with me today, for this whole month in general. I can't believe we have one more flow to do. So congratulations, you're almost there, and I'll see you next time.